Hi guys, it's Nick from Let's Chat, and in this video today I'm going to do my round 24 footy tips, and I'm also going to review my round 23 footy tips. So let's get underway. So the tips that I got wrong were Collingwood, Essendon, Geelong and the Western Bulldogs. So I got 5 out of 9 tips right this week. So the first game of the week is between Essendon and Collingwood. Essendon had a horrible loss at Giant Stadium against GWS. They lost by 126 points and they were embarrassing, and they didn't show that they wanted to be a finals contender. So that their season's pretty much over, so they're just playing for pride now. And for Collingwood, well, they're trying to keep their top spot hopes alive. They need to win this game by a bit so they can seal the top spot for the finals, because they haven't been playing that great the last 4 weeks. Only one win out of their last 4 games since Dacos got injured, Nick Dacos. They've been a bit out of form, Collingwood, so they really need to step up if they want to finish on top of the ladder. So I'm going to tip Collingwood here. I'm going to tip them to win by 14 points. So the next match is between Hawthorn and Fremantle. Hawthorn had a loss against the Demons on Sunday afternoon. They put up a good effort for 3 quarters. They showed promising signs that they can play footy for 3 quarters. They're the most promising side in the future coming up, Hawthorn. They've got a good future coming up, Hawthorn. And with Fremantle, well, they lost to Port Adelaide by around 16 points or something. Can't remember the margin, but Port Adelaide got the job done there and Fremantle couldn't convert. So I reckon I'm going to tip Hawthorn in this match to finish their season off on a high, and I'm going to tip them to win by 7 points. So the next match is between North Melbourne and the Gold Coast Suns. North Melbourne, they had a 5-6 goal loss against Richmond as expected, and the Gold Coast Suns, they had a unlucky 4-point loss against Carlton when they were 40 points up, and they fucked it up. So for this last round, I'm taking a couple of risks because I know I'm not going to win the footy tipping. I'm just doing it for fun in this last round. So I'm going to tip North Melbourne in this match. Go for a couple of upsets, and I'm going to tip North Melbourne to win by 4 points. So the next game is between Brisbane and St Kilda at the Gabba. Both teams had magnificent wins on the weekend. Brisbane had a great win against the top of the table Collingwood, and St Kilda had an awesome win against the reigning premiers in Geelong, and they're into the finals now, St Kilda. But since it's at the Gabba, I reckon Brisbane will get the job done comfortably, and they're going to try and push that for that top spot against Collingwood, and I'm going to tip the Brisbane Lions to beat St Kilda by 47 points. So the next game is between Geelong and the Western Bulldogs. Geelong, well, they had a disappointing loss against St Kilda, and that cost them a final spot. So they'll be having a premiership hangover. So they'll be playing for pride this weekend. And the Western Bulldogs, well, no one saw this coming. They lost to the West Coast Eagles last week. Can you believe it? I was at work, and then when I finished work, I checked the scores. I was like, what the fuck? The West Coast Eagles are beating the Bulldogs? This can't be right. It obviously was. I was just in shock. West Coast hadn't had that many wins, and they were beating the Western Bulldogs. That could cost them a final spot. Wow. But with Geelong this week, they're resting some players. this week, Geelong, since they can't make finals. So I think Jeremy Cameron and Tom Hawkins won't be playing, that I heard. I think because they got injuries and they're having surgery, or at least Jeremy Cameron is anyways. And the Bulldogs, well, they really need to win this game if there's any chance of playing finals. So I'm tipping the Bulldogs here to win by 5 points. So the next game is between West Coast and Adelaide. West Coast had an awesome win over the Western Bulldogs. With Jamie Cripps being a star with 5 goals. Matthew Allen was good as well. He kicked 3 goals. And the Bulldogs, well, they were all scrappy and they just weren't on their mojo rate on the day. And with Adelaide, well, they had a really, really unlucky loss. Ben Keys was robbed a goal near the end. It should have been a goal. The umpires didn't even go to review either, so that umpire's got to be ashamed of himself for that. But I reckon in this game, the Crows will win by 35 points. So the next game is between Port Adelaide and Richmond at the Adelaide Oval. Port Adelaide had a gutsy 15 or so point win against Fremantle, and Richmond had a comfortable win against North Melbourne, and they did it in style for Jack Riewoldt and Trent Cotchin's last ever game, because they're both retiring. So it's a good way to end their careers off with a win. But in this game, I reckon Port will get the job done. And since it's at Adelaide Oval, I reckon Port will get the job done, but only just. So I'm going to tip Port Adelaide to win by 12 points. So the next game is between the Swans and the Demons. Sydney had a 1 point thrilling win over Adelaide on the weekend. They really shouldn't have won, to be honest, because, as I talked about before, Adelaide got robbed. Crom did, as they say. Most people these days, they call Adelaide Crom. But anyways, and the Demons, well, they had a 27 point win over Hawthorn. It wasn't pretty, but they still got the 4 points, and they're going to be in the top 4 once again for the 3rd year in a row. So I reckon this is going to be a close match. Sydney have been doing alright without Buddy Franklin because he's retired now, but this is like a sort of a farewell game for Buddy, even though he's not playing because it's at the SCG. So Sydney, they'll have home ground advantage, and I reckon it'll be a really close one. I'm going to tip the Swans to win by 2 points in an upset. So the last match, and the most important match of the week, is between Carlton and GWS. And it's at the shittest time of all, at 6:10 at night. Seriously, most people would have school the next day, or work the next day, or even TAFE the next day. Seriously, AFL, why put that down at 6:10 at night? At least I don't have something on that night either. So luckily it doesn't affect me. So I'll be able to watch that match, and I don't have to go to bed early that night. So that's alright for me, thank God. But anyways, Carlton, well, they had a 4 point win, and they were 40 points down against the Gold Coast Suns, and I thought, nah, we're going to fuck it up again like last year. Like we did against Melbourne in the final 10 seconds, like we did against Collingwood in the final 2 minutes. But this time, we've made amends and we'll be in the finals this year. Yes! Carlton the Blues, we're in the finals this year. Let's go! And GWS, well, they had a massive 126 point win over the Bombers. Essendon were just so shocked. They only scored 5 goals for the whole game, Essendon. GWS, well, they had Jesse Hogan up forward. He kicked 9 goals, played his best ever game of AFL, and he even beat Essendon off his own boot. Can you believe it? So GWS, well, they had a comfortable win there. So it's going to be a hard game here. It's going to probably be a good game, but I'm tipping Carlton to win by 14 points here, so we can try and get that 5th spot. Well, so guys, this is the final round of the AFL season, the regular AFL season, home and away season, and there are my tips. So thank you all for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Catch you guys.